Hi, Gary here, Strong Fast Fitness. When most people think about doing resistance exercises, they think about using weights, like a barbell or a kettlebell or a dumbbell. Or perhaps they might think about doing body weight exercises, such as push-ups or pull-ups or squats, or maybe using a resistance band. But there's another way you can do resistance exercise, and that's hitting. Now, if you think about just doing like cardio kickboxing or even shadow boxing, where we're just throwing strikes in the air, there is no resistance component to it. Right? So there's no strength component. And therefore, you can just do that for a long time. If you do a lot of it, you'll get tired. It's kind of like bench pressing a pencil. You're not going to get any stronger because there's no resistance. But we can add resistance to hitting just by hitting something. For example, we could hit coaching mitts. Or we could hit something bigger, like a Muay Thai pad. But we don't really hit pads just by tossing it up in the air and hitting them. Okay, so we have somebody holding the pads, and we have Sensei Hutch here from Seven Tigers Martial Arts, who's going to be holding for me so we can demonstrate some of these things. So, instead of just the resistance of the weight of the pad itself, we now have the resistance of the pad plus the resistance that Sensei Hutch will be providing behind the pad. So, with the pad up now and not just moving the pad, I have to work against his strength, his arm holding the pad back and providing the extra resistance. So now he can actually control how much resistance is provided in the pad by how hard he keeps the pad forward. So he can actually go back and make it a little easier, or he can really hold the pad forward strong, which is going to make it harder for me. So now I'm going to have to work harder to try and move the pad. And being experienced at this is really important, because you really learn how much to move the pad for the person that you're working with. Right, so in addition to that, if I was really going to throw a hard punch here, you can see that reflexively the person will move the pad forward to meet the punch. All right, so now I not only have to overcome the resistance of the pad and his arm holding it, I have to stop his forward movement and then push it back again. So that just increases the amount of resistance that we have in this particular exercise. So I also can control the resistance though by how hard that I hit. Right? So if you're not a good hitter and this is as hard as you can hit, then he doesn't have to work hard, which means he's not providing a lot of resistance, so there's not a lot of resistance there. But even if I can hit hard but choose not to, right, I can just do this, and I can do this all day. He'll probably get tired before I do, but what's the point of doing that? If you can hit hard, you should be hitting as hard as you can, or close to it, the whole time, and getting the greatest metabolic effect for this. So it's very similar to with weights, where we lift weights at a fast tempo, and they often refer to that as metabolic resistance training, because it really gets your heart rate going, but it's still resistance training. There is strength involved in that as well. Your heart rate. One of the things that makes hitting such a great workout is that it provides accommodating resistance. So usually, when you're lifting weight or doing body weight exercise, you have a fixed weight the entire time. When you get tired, you have to stop. When we're hitting, the person holding the pad can actually adjust the amount of resistance as you start to fatigue, which allows you to keep working at a really high rate longer. Right? So even when you're really tired, you can be hitting the pad as hard as you can, even though that's not really hard, still getting a much greater workout for a long time with resistance that accommodates to how much power you're able to exert into the pad. So let's just throw a few here. So give me the 1-2s so we can see an example here. A little bit closer, please. There we go. Okay, so he has to work a little bit to stop those punches. And if I keep doing that, I'm going to get gassed pretty quick because I'm throwing as hard as I can. It's actually a lot of work to do that. So it's a really great metabolic exercise in addition to a strength exercise. And then, of course, we can do other things besides just punching. Or I can throw elbows, we can throw knees, kicks, and so on. So there's a lot of different things we can do, make this a really great metabolic workout, but also a resistance workout. So give it a try, because it's not only a great workout, it's also lots of fun.